humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
And welcome to Parrot TV, Talking Politics. I am Robert Press, reporter for the Bronx Chronicle, Parkchester Times, Co-op City News, and I have my own blog, 100%. We are going to go right into the economy with my co-host, Anthony Rivviecio, who will introduce himself.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Professor Anthony Rivviecio. I like to basically say I have three lives. My first and predominant life is I am a personal financial advisor. My second life being at both Herbert H. Lehman College and Monroe College in business and accounting. And my third life, which brings me here, is I am the founder of a local political club, Northwest Bronx Democrat.
And we have to talk politics, to talk the economy with them. Theo Chino, would you please introduce yourself, Theo?
Well, my name is Theo Chino. I am the co-founder of the website Rep My Blog. I'm also the acting head of the Social Democrat of America, basically the socialist, in line with the German SPD or the French Socialist Party. And I live in New York. And I used to be a Bitcoiner. I am still a Bitcoiner, but too dangerous to even touch it right now.
Okay, well, if you look at the picture behind me, I'll get it, I'll go a little closer some other time, but it's a picture of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when she ran for the U.S. Congress in 2018. I'm just going to give a little bit because I was the moderator of the debate that really was a turning point that helped bring her into Congress. And while I may not agree with everything she says, I am a fully support of my Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, let's get into the economy. Guys, you want to talk about what's going on? It looks like the stock market's going down. What's happening? Anthony.
Oh, Bob, such a loaded question. And because it's such a loaded question, I feel like I should be charging for fiduciary advice. Long story short, there is really nothing good to say about our economy, both domestically and worldly. And the markets will, of course, respond to whatever those thoughts and feelings are, whether it's directly or indirectly. And right now, we basically see not one, but several fights in regards to the Biden economic plan. But notwithstanding the Biden economic plan, which in my opinion has several issues, there's nothing in our economy that looks good. The recent round of inflation numbers are now showing inflation rates maybe going as high as 30 years ago, up until the early 1990s. They're getting less unemployment than before. I don't know if anyone's aware, but when we hit our COVID peak earlier last year, from that peak, two-thirds of Americans have lost their unemployment benefits. So again, it's nothing good. I wish I could find a piece of good news to share with you, but I can't. So the market is now going to respond until those things change.
Theo, any discussion about Biden's new tax plan?
Well, the tax plan is the way I understand it is I like a lot of position that he has taken in the tax plan that is about taxing a little bit more the people who are not hiding, but using the tax loopholes to make money on the stock market, like the 15% that people pays, the rich people tend to pay when they when they sell back their stock after having it for more than a year, things like that. So those are the good things that the tax plan, the good direction. But unfortunately, it doesn't go far enough into taxing the ultra rich, the Bezos, the Gates, and all those
Bloomberg.
people. What?
Bloomberg.
The Bloomberg and all those people. So the thing is, the middle class, the upper middle class is basically is still a little bit undertaxed over the lower middle class, and that is causing still problem. I feel, but we need to lift people into the middle class, not bring back the people down from the middle class.
Well,
So
we see at the local level here in the state and the city that unions very much influence the politicians with their endorsements and their contributions. Do we see that at the federal level with, like you say, the Bezos and Bloombergs? Because we know Bloomberg gave the state money, the state legislators, some of them, to change laws or make laws. Does that happen at the federal level?
absolutely. I mean, no doubt. I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, I belong to a club, a Democratic club on the Upper East Side, and I see how the congressman there, Congressman Maloney, uh, handles things, and I can see that at the same time she does things locally with the people who are involved locally. But I also see how she, she I wouldn't say pander because she herself well off, but she used her power to influence what benefit her people basically.
Well,
Where the local people don't talk about it, she has free reign to do what she wants for real estate and things like that.
right. You spoke about wealth for these people. And it seems that when they go into Congress, they go in poor and they come out ultra rich. And they are the ones who are making the tax laws. So do they make these laws to help themselves?
In a way, yes, but I don't. I will give them the slight benefit of the doubt in a way that sometimes they don't understand everything, and they let the lobbyists come up and with solution that they themselves don't see the ramification, and it has become so convoluted that nobody understands anymore. Only the professional. I mean, the United States, the US dollar is not based on the gold standard anymore. So since it's not based, the US dollar has been virtualized, the tax system has not been, is still a gold-based tax system. Basically, you earn something, they take a piece of it, and we could change things so dramatically to have a fair tax system, but nobody's talking about that. And
You know what, Robert, if I might, because I do feel like a professional, being that I'm a 30-year accountant. And I want to emphasize that even though I know we're on a political show and we're talking politics, I get very frustrated when I talk to my clients because one of the first things I tell them is that I tell them I'm here to talk about your money, not your politics. So for the moment, I'm going to take off my political hat and talk about it as an economist. And as an economist, one of the things that we always like to see are any areas of economic growth. Because as an economist, we want our economy to be healthy. So whether it's on the consumer spending side, the investment spending side, whatever side it is, we want our economy to be healthy. Now, you mentioned the tax code. Again, politics aside, right? Let me ask both of you a very simple question. Very simple question. You're the one that brought it up. Robert and Theo, if you owned a house, and if you own the house for more than 1 year, then that means, according to Biden's proposals, your taxes are going to go up. Is that fair?
No, I would not buy anything right now. The way
Well,
the
from an
economy is,
economist's point of view, one might agree with you. From someone that's political and political more so to the left, they might disagree with you because, as you said, how can you, attack a class of people? Again, I'm talking economics, right? Unless it's targeted there politically. So again, I want to be in what I'm saying. I know we're on a political show, and yes, we all have our political thoughts. But when I talk economics and money with my clients, there is no politics. As I say all the time, I can tell you the best democratic policies in our 100 years came from Republicans and vice versa. So at the end of the day, like I always tell my clients, my job is not to advocate for your political beliefs. My job is to make sure your money either grows or doesn't get hurt. And your politics to me is irrelevant.
Well, Theo, any comments?
Well, the thing is, money and politics go hand in hand, because the politicians are the one who makes the decision on what will happen to your money at the end of the day. And the thing is, growth is very nice, but the thing is, there is a limited amount of growth because there is a limited amount of commodity. And at the end of the day, the commodity is what creates growth, because you need to have that transformation from a commodity into a product. So depending on what we do, that commodity needs to be transformed. So it's I see it, Bitcoin, in a way, I learned so much about how it works from studying Bitcoin in a weird way. Not as everybody was talking about Bitcoin as money, and I was one of the first to say, no, is it the first intangible commodity? And once you start looking at a commodity, you start looking at Karl Marx and what he wrote in The Capital, in his first chapter, talking about the usage of the commodity and the value he has.
See,
and that's what will make
you just proved my point.
And politics
you just proved my point. You just proved my point.
Well,
you talked about Bitcoin, and for the first 30 seconds, I listened as an economist, and then all of a sudden you threw Karl Marx into the conversation.
Karl Marx in his first chapter.
And I have written several articles where, long story short, the U.S. at this time will never Bitcoin as a currency.
It's not a currency.
Supports it.
It is a
as a matter of
commodity.
fact, our IRS,
Bitcoin is a commodity.
looks at it as a commodity. You're absolutely right. The IRS looks at it as a product. It doesn't look at it as currency. It looks at it as property, just like your house. So they're going to tax it.
But that's the point I'm trying to make also, is the IRS, everybody has jumped into the Bitcoin bandwagon like crazy back in 2013, saying it's the devil. Chuck Schumer was the first one to come on TV saying...
No. You're putting politics into an economic conversation. If the IRS determines it as property and taxes it as such, then you have to acknowledge it as property, not currency.
Yeah, but the point is, you can say the sky is red, knowing very well the sky is blue, but if you say, the government say, oh, now we're going to consider the sky is red and science doesn't follow, doesn't matter. I mean, the IRS can say everything, the IRS can be wrong. And I'm
going to agree with Anthony, Theo, because years ago when I was with, I had a position as sales manager of a company. I had a company car, and that was free. That was worth a lot of money, that company car, because it also was insurance and gas and everything else.
And in New York,
all of a sudden, one of the Bushes decided, let's tax this company car, okay? And in New York City, all right, we have federal taxes, we have state taxes, we have local taxes. We're taxed throughout. I mean, you go into McDonald's and you're taxed. We are taxed up to our necks.
We're overtaxed. We are overtaxed in New York, and that's a known fact. I agree.
And what I've talked to some of these police officers, the commanders, when they retire to a state that has no income tax. They go to like Nevada and go work in a casino. So they're making their pension. They got their side job, and there's no tax. You're just paying federal tax. Okay, that's the problem here. Like you say, Theo, what tax too much? Would you agree, Anthony?
Oh, Lord have mercy. You know what? let me answer the question this way. I always say we all, as citizens, right, want to pay our fair share of taxes. Of course, the debate is what's our fair share, right?
Absolutely.
So, as a tax professional, I try to share with clients. You want to, of course, do what's in the legal bounds of the law. And then, of course, with tips and strategies along the way, you want to eventually get your tax liability as low as you can. I'm only going to slightly disagree with Theo in something he said earlier, that I always, my clients, especially in the last couple of years, when they come to my office and they say, Anthony, I'm ready to do my taxes, I want my $1 million refund. I take off my glasses and I look at them dead in the eye and I look and I say to them, oh, you want me to be like Donald Trump? And they look at me and go, what do you mean? And I go, well, isn't that why you're here? You want me to take the legal laws and use them to your advantage so you can be in the lowest tax liability, which therefore means you will get the highest refund. So all I'll say to an earlier statement that you made, Theo, is, again, politically, we can debate whether certain laws are right or certain laws are wrong. But from a financial standpoint, if those are the laws at the time that they were written, why can't we use them?
I'm not against using the law, and that's what you do in your job. But the thing is, I'm looking at it from my
So
end.
then you agree. So then wait a minute. So then you agree that Donald Trump's accountant at this moment in time has not done anything wrong?
I'm not Donald Trump accountant, so I cannot say anything. Donald Trump has taken liberty with certain things. Selling himself a painting of himself and taking a tax deduction, that's pretty bold. I will leave the judge to decide whether that's a tax deduction or not.
Theo, Donald Trump has been accused on both the federal and the state side of misusing, let's call them business depreciation. I'm sorry?
No, every loophole that you could find. He used everything, the tax law. Donald Trump, let me put it this way, and a lot of people are going to get mad with me. Donald Trump.
So then you would say that Congress is then wrong for asking for a copy of his tax return.
No, the thing.
Because again, up until this day, I am not aware of a federal or state charge in regards to his taxes. I'm aware of 1 million allegations that I'm aware of. But as of right now, I'm not, and if I'm wrong, please tell me. I don't believe he's been charged with anything yet. So does that mean Congress is wrong for asking for his taxes if his accountant said, all I did was apply the laws at the time they were written?
The thing is, we have gutted the IRS. There is no more. We gutted the IRS enforcement. We gutted everything. So who is supposed to verify that the accountant?
Theo, forgive me for correcting you. We didn't gut anything. As I share with my clients at least 2 times a day for the last year, the IRS is not doing its job because it now has 5 other jobs. Okay? Everyone forgets that, when we had President Trump say, cut those stimulus checks and make sure everybody. And then Joe Biden said exactly, and up to 4 stimulus checks were cut. Well, everybody forgot that the one that cuts those checks is the IRS. So what has the IRS been doing every year for the last 2 years? They haven't been doing income taxes because I got about 100 clients that are still waiting for their refund. What the IRS is doing now is, believe it or not, still processing stimulus checks. So when you say gutted the enforcement department, there's nobody there to enforce. Why? Because everybody in the IRS department, according to both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, who said, we want those checks to our American citizens immediately. So what happened in essence is that the IRS is working. They're working very hard, but they're working to write stimulus checks. They're not auditing. They're not processing.
We're going to have to stop for a moment, and we're going to have a little public service announcement / commercial from our producer. So take it away, Mr.
Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate?
I know what it is to be a victim of police brutality, to fight for justice, for Amadou Diallo, Abdel Louima, because I was there. Racial inequality is woven into the fabric of America.
2021, make your vote count now, count now, count now, count now. Vote now, vote now, vote now. Any card is a ballot now.
We have to end inequality in our school and in housing and ensure we won't have crime and gun violence destroying our city. This is our moment.
Make it count, make it count, make your vote, make it count. You say, oh yeah, who's a candidate? 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 Who's a candidate?
Okay, we're back. We're going to move on, guys, to the state.
Hey, Robert, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
That was a wonderful commercial I just saw, and I think it said I think it had a little blurb at the end about a wonderful political club that sponsored that commercial. Do you know anything more about that organization?
Do I?
Yes.
Our producer does, and but we'll find out next week for you, Anthony. Okay, we'll find out.
Well, no. What I like to know are the advertising rates, because of course I have 3 lives, and of course I like to take advantage of each one. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Robert.
Well, no, you're going to have to talk to our producer and find out what the rates are, and maybe you'll get a commission.
So then I should pay exactly what the club did.
You're going to have to talk to our producer, okay?
Oh, wonderful. I get the same rate then. I get the same rate. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move on to Kathy Hochul, who's been in office for about a month. What is people's views on her? Anthony, what is your view on Kathy Hochul? How is she doing? Anthony?
Oh God, it's so hard to answer that. Given the fact that she's just in office for over a month. If I had to summarize it into one word, and I'm a little worried about using this word, is efficiency. She's trying as hard as she can to take problems that the Cuomo administration had, and she's trying to be as efficient as she can. That doesn't mean she's right. That doesn't mean all of her efficiencies are accurate. But she's trying hard, so I really got to give her credit for that at this time.
Theo?
Well, she's from the upper western side of the state, so I really hope that she find her footing as the leader of the state of New York, as the first woman running the state. So I see a lot of she's working, it seems, the same way as Governor Patterson when Governor Patterson became governor, pushing transparency. Right now, Governor Patterson had the problem with these extramarital things. Here is the problem with COVID numbers that were hidden. So she's going in and she's like, oh, I'm going to be transparent. And I feel she has not yet taken the realm of power fully. But I hope that she will do like the senator from upstate, and she will go a little bit more left than what her beliefs are.
Any opinion on why she chose Brian Benjamin as the lieutenant governor?
Oh, My opinion is that it was the logical thing. I mean, he's a black senator from Harlem, from New York City, and she wanted to have the support of a New York City, the New York City constituent that she will need if she's going to get reelected. So you cannot get reelected in New York without New York City.
Anthony, why did she pick Brian Benjamin over Jamal Bailey?
You know, that's a good question, Robert. And again, now I'm just speculating, but I obviously don't think it was because of politics. Because if it was because of politics, she, of course, could have found better options. I actually think the reason why she did it is because if we know the resume of Brian Benjamin, then what we know are two things. Number one, he's a legislator. Number two, he works with real estate interests. So, you know, his real estate interests are growing every day. They 4 years, his own Harlem them out on it. So again, I don't think it was because of politics, because if it was because of politics, she could have found at least 5 other quote unquote black you know, people that could have, you know, fulfilled that mission politically.
I agree with you.
So I could only presume it had to be because of his.
Well, was it to block somebody like Jumaane Williams or even the Attorney General that here I have a black candidate as my lieutenant governor, so how can you run? Because both have expressed interest in running for governor. Theo?
Well, I mean, I would go with what Anthony just said, also real estate, because I live in Harlem. I am a housing victim myself. And I've been knocking at the door of all these politicians over 15 years. That's why when we met, I was saying I'm a baby, because I've been believing the politicians saying they would help us against the nonprofit real estate interest, who is in the hand of the for-profit real estate interest. So Brian Benjamin is part of the real estate machine interest that Anthony just alluded to. So really, I mean, Jumaane Williams is as corrupt as everybody else in a way in the system, and he will not galvanize the people upstate. So I don't think Jumaane Williams will get anything upstate, and the same goes for Trish Lane. Unfortunately, New York State is much more, upstate New York is much more like the Midwest of the United States.
Okay. I'm just going to make a comment about the Bronx County dinner because I was there. I know neither of you were at the dinner. It was a nice event. It was a different event from past county dinners. And I really wanted to ask Kathy Hochul a question if she remembered me, because in 2015, when she became lieutenant governor, she was at the Bronx County dinner. That night, Governor Cuomo, was up in the air in a plane in a storm. So I happened to be right next to her, and I asked her, gee, you know, the governor's plane is up in the air in a storm. Are you ready to take over in case anything should happen? And she basically froze, didn't know what to say to me. And now, 6 years later, she's been thrust into the governorship. She is trying her best because, I mean, I look at all her press releases. She's all over. She's spending money, giving money here, giving money there, giving money everywhere for projects. So, I mean, can she buy the governorship? All right. I don't know. All right. Our next question will be, and which was funny because the way it was set up, you didn't all go to the podium anymore. They had 2 platforms set up where on one side of the room and one on the other side of the room. I wound up on the side of the room with where the mayor was, where Tish James was, and where Jumaane Williams was. All right. And they spoke very well. And, you know, it was like the governor's race almost over there because all 3 are unannounced candidates for governor. The one thing I want to say is the next morning when Bill de Blasio was on his media advisory, Dr. Chachi gave him a shot. Now, we're going to go into the vaccination thing next, but I can't understand. Wait, I want to talk, Anthony. I can't understand why Mayor de Blasio had a second shot. He got the Johnson & Johnson, which was a one shot, and they haven't announced any booster shots for Johnson & Johnson. So what did they inject into the mayor? Okay.
Brother.
Go ahead, guys. Any comments on the vaccination?
No, Bob, I just want to share with you that, I think the Bronx County dinner, of course, I've been to several of them. I think it was probably different for two reasons. Of course, number one, just COVID, in general, COVID protocol. And then number two, you're basically looking at a different party. Today's Bronx, Democratic Party is a lot different, a lot younger.
Well, it seemed like that there are people missing that are in office
and
right
I think
now.
all of that shows. And with the Brooklyn Democratic Party breakfast that they had at Junior's restaurant, it was pretty much the same thing. My only worry with both of them, Bob, to be honest with you, is that I don't know if you're aware of what was reported in the Brooklyn breakfast, which was pretty much the same all-star cast that you just mentioned. But they said over 80% of the attendees were maskless.
Right. Same thing at
So
the Bronx
that
County.
sounds like the potential of a spread.
Well, everybody was checked for their vaccination
So I'm
card.
hoping that between the Brooklyn spreader and the Bronx spreader, that people like you don't get sick again.
I'm not going to get sick again, Anthony. That was a reaction to the second shot.
No, but you went to the dinner.
Right.
So we don't know yet.
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish you nothing but the best.
I feel fine, Anthony.
But, you said it yourself. You were hanging out with, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so didn't have masks on.
No, and you'll see in the pictures on my blog at 100%bronx.blogspot.com a full review of it. And in the newspapers, the Bronx Chronicle, Co-op City News, Park Chester Times, which I write for, they also got, and there are pictures in there of people, it was a very nice event. I got to admit, it was a very nice
I didn't ask you if it was a nice event. What I asked you is the potential of a spreader.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't say anything. But I will say there was
You said something like you've been saying things all along.
Anthony,
what do you mean you can't say anything now? You're not going to talk about our Supreme Court Justice Brian Kavanaugh, who has just proven that 7 months. If anyone is proven, it's our Supreme Court Justice Brian Kavanaugh that vaccines don't work for past 6 months.
I will disagree. Vaccine does work. The numbers are there. People who want to look at the science, I mean, how many million people get vaccinated nowadays?
I didn't say it didn't work. Theo. What I said was it's being proven every day that if you believe the vaccine works, then that means you have to take it a minimum of 3 times a year. And if that's...
Well, let me answer Anthony right here.
All kinds of mental, physical, and economic health problems. As I've said to many other people, those shots are free. What about next year? What about the year after? Who's going to pay for that?
Anthony.
The government's not going to pay for 3 shots a year for free.
Anthony, they're not
I
free.
know they're not for free. But next year, you'll be directly charged for it.
Well,
that's my point.
That's why we want Medicare for all. So we don't pay for health care.
And then what are you going to tell me? That we should do it?
You got to come up with a different name. Medicare was made especially for retirees who gave in money so it would be invested so they'd have money when they retire. You can't just give that money to everybody.
Okay,
because not everybody paid in.
So the thing is, we need healthcare for all. We need to take that from the equation. It shouldn't be part of the equation. The healthcare of the citizen shouldn't be part of the economical equation. And we need to take it out, period. There is no how we're going to pay it. We don't question the military. How are we going to pay for security? Security is not part of the economical equation, except when it comes to the location of the United States bases around the United States. But other than that, it shouldn't be part of the equation. The same with healthcare. Healthcare shouldn't be part of the economical equation.
All right. I want to get back to what Anthony said. Okay.
So,
the best way for vaccination is to have the virus like I did. I had it. I got over it in 5 days in March of 2020. The city top doctors, Dr. Chachi, Dr. Katz, told me I was immune to COVID. Okay. However, I was not immune to these new strains, unfortunately. And I don't think I was going to catch them, but I was forced to be vaccinated. If I wanted to continue to attend events, I had to be vaccinated. And that's the only reason that I got the vaccination, because I was forced into it. And Anthony, if you're a teacher, if you're going to go back in the classroom, they're going to force you to get vaccinated. And Theo, have you been vaccinated?
I would say I would say they are figuring those things out as we speak. And you're right; it's very discouraging and disheartening to know that there is no. I believe it's going to be is.
All right, Theo.
That at least for colleges, that you're going to have two divisions. You're going to have an in-house division and an online division. And what they'll probably do, which I think is a good idea, is if certain professors like myself don't want to get vaccinated for our own personal reasons, then at least put us in the remote division. Myself, personally, I wouldn't care. I'm sure some will, but I think that would be a good transition for teachers or professors, that if they don't want to take the vaccination for whatever reasons they don't want to, they don't take their job away, just put them in another division, call it the remote division.
Theo, your opinion.
I'm sorry, Anthony, I am a little bit more radical in that term. The United States have a history when it comes to medication and minority. I am a minority. For a long time, the syphilis experiment was in the back of my mind. Will the government experiment with me? And it took me a while I'm going to wait until a lot of people get vaccinated before I do. I went to Missouri, I looked at the science, and I felt like it's time for me to do. Not that many people die. My wife had COVID. She didn't feel anything except the loss of scent. She had antibodies inside her. I was living with her all this time. I didn't have antibody. And after 6 months, I said, I'm getting vaccinated.
One question, Theo. One question. Have you taken the flu shot yet?
No, I never take the flu shot. I don't work in a medical setting, so I let my body deal with the flu.
Wait. So you just said that you trust the science, right? The science of the flu shots have been out a lot longer than the COVID science, but you won't take the flu shot?
Well, there is different reason. There is different
That sounds like
technology.
somebody's going through a little mass hysteria to me.
Well, yeah, I agree with Anthony. That's socialized medicine. You got to take the flu shot.
But the thing is, there is choice.
Are you saying that you don't believe the science? Wait. Are you saying that you don't believe the science of the flu shot? And the science for the flu shot has been out for 50 years, right? The science for the COVID has only been out for one. You're telling me that you believe in that science, but you don't believe in 50 years of flu shot science?
The thing is, I do believe in flu shot science, but I feel that...
Why haven't you taken it?
Because I don't feel like I want to take it. Period. My
Why not? It's the same risk as COVID. Why not? It's the same risk as COVID.
Hold on. We are comparing buses and motorcycle. They're not the same thing. The flu shot is one technology. The Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine are a second technology. They're not the same technology. Because the thing is, it's a flu shot or it's a shot, a vaccine, but they're using different technology.
Theo,
so you cannot use You cannot
Are
compare.
you
apple
saying
and
that?
orange.
Wait.
Theo,
Are
wait,
you
Anthony, let
saying
me
that
ask you
you
a question,
can't die from the flu?
Anthony.
Are you saying you can't die from the flu?
Yes, when
Are you
I get
saying
older,
that?
I'll get the flu shot. It's because
Wait.
No, that's not what I asked
Anthony.
you. What I
Anthony.
asked you was,
Theo.
are you saying that you can't die from the flu? Are
Yes,
you
I can
saying
die
that
from
if you
the
have
flu.
the flu, you can't transmit it to your family?
Wait a minute,
Yes,
Anthony.
I can.
Anthony, if they told you, Theo, you had to get a booster shot for COVID, and in that booster shot was a flu vaccine, would you take it?
I would be bitching and moaning, and I would take it reluctantly, but I would be moaning. But that because the thing is, we shouldn't mix and match. Oh, let's do the economy of scale. Let's put and that's what drives me nuts with the vaccine. Is they
Welcome to the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration.
But that's why I'm a socialist, because we need to have government should be for the people, by the people, and what's the third one? I always
Wait a minute. Theo, which president would you rather have or which person would you rather have, Donald Trump or Joe Biden, and why? And then we got to go to a commercial.
Bernie Sanders, actually. Neither one. They're equally bad. So I'm like a Bernie Sanders guy. So the thing is, we the people, and we need, that's why I started.
Bernie Sanders took his flu shot.
Well, I'll get to the flu shot. Well, the flu shot, I didn't take it because I'm lazy. It's not that I'm scared of the flu shot. It's just I'm lazy to go to CVS, make the line. It's more laziness. And the problem with COVID is not the flu. The COVID is not the flu. The flu is you get sick, you lose work, end of story. COVID, you can die on a roll of a dice.
Wait a minute. So you're saying no one has died from the flu?
It's not the same proportion. It's not at the same proportion.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Look at the medical science. Of course it is. Look at the medical science.
You die. Of course you die out of disease because underlying condition, but you don't. The thing.
Well, let's not talk about dying. Let's not talk about dying. Let's talk. No. Let's not talk about dying. Let's talk about something simple like transmission. Are you saying that if you had the flu, you couldn't transmit it to your family at home?
Okay, yes, guys, we got to take a commercial break. So let's let the producer put another commercial on or a public service announcement, and that'll be the final one. And we go into our last third and discuss local politics. Thank you,
Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate?
I know what it is to be a victim of police brutality, to fight for justice, for Amadou Diallo, Abdel Louima, because I was there. Racial inequality is woven into the fabric of America.
2021, make your vote count now, count now, count now, count now. Vote now, vote now, vote now. Every card up is a ballot now.
We have to end inequality in our school and in housing and ensure we won't have crime and gun violence destroying our city. This is our moment.
Make it count, make it count, make your vote, make it count. We say, oh yeah, who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate?
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate?
I know what it is to be a victim of police brutality, to fight for justice, for Amadou Diallo, Abner Louima, because I was there. Racial inequality is woven into the fabric of America.
2021, make your vote count now, count now, count now, count now. Vote now, vote now, vote now. Every card is a ballot now.
We have to end inequality in our school and in housing and ensure we won't have crime and gun violence destroying our city. This is our moment.
Make it count, make it count, make your vote, make it count. You say, oh yeah, who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate?
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Theo.
Yes.
You and I are going to have to tag team to do these commercials because it looks like the producer must be charging top dollar. Right, if you have a couple of Eric Adams commercials, unless maybe we can get one of those package deals, right? That looks like a package deal, right? You know, you pay for 2 commercials, get the third one for free, right? One of those things.
Well, we can talk about local politics, and because I wanted to come back to the dinner, the Republican Democratic Party dinner, where Bob was saying that there was a lot of change, you know, like the fee. And the thing is, you know, I run a program called Rep My Block, right? The Rep My Block is basically, I want to fill out every seat in the county committee by election, not by the district leader nominating people to the county committee, but literally people on every block should be fighting each other. And
let me give you a little bit of kudos on that, by the way. I'm very aware of your work. I'm very aware of your I think it's good that you are producing an open apparatus, and I think that's good.
Thank you. No, thank you. And it's not only me. I mean, there are people like Paperboy Prince, Dr. Devi on the Republican side, who's running for public advocate. There are a lot of people participating into the process, because I think America, I mean, when I discovered the county, that's why I was saying I'm a little bit upset because I lost 15 years of my life. Had I known about the process of the county committee 15 years ago, I would have done Rep My Block back then, because I did it for the Green Party with the petitioning. The whole system exists since 2004 and 5. But then, after I discovered how weaponized the Board of Election was in 2004, I said, I don't want anything to do with American politics. It's corrupt, it's dirty, nothing. And because I'm a French Dominican American, I went to do politics in France. And in France, for example, we had a problem. I was drafted to the army, like every French person back then. And so I had, because I live in the United States, I had to send a little paper back to the barrack in France. And that little paper would get lost every year. And every year, the French army would consider me AWOL, and they would knock on the door of my parents saying, where am I? And I used to say, wait, there is a problem in the way that little paper gets transmitted back to the barrack, why it gets lost every time. So suddenly I said, well, we need to have, I went to see my local representative in France, and I told him my problem, and he goes, oh, it's only 1 out of 10,000. What do I care about you? And suddenly I said, wait a minute, I am a French overseas. I need French overseas representation where they will know what to do with all the problem of being a French from overseas. And so I got involved in French politics. That was my local scene. And we saw in 10 years that we changed the Constitution because I wasn't the only one with the same problem. So all of us got together, and suddenly we went and changed the Constitution of France to have overseas representation of the French citizen. And now we elect
Theo. Yeah, but Theo, let me sort of put something you said another way. I don't think you were 15 years too late, because if you think about it, right, 15 was 2006, right? And what happened in 2006? What happened was all of the innovators, right, that were using the internet during that time to innovate and create, most of them wound up getting banished, right? So like Napster, for example, right? Today, we can buy music on the internet any old way. But in 2006, when there was a website called Napster that was doing the same thing, and eventually it got shut down, it was demonetized as illegal. You know what? You could have been part of that casualty. But now, 15 years later, you're now like Amazon, a revolutionary, because a lot of people believe that music comes from the Amazon revolution. And I say, no. Look, go as far back as Napster. So 15 years ago, you could have had an idea that was very good, but could have got shut down. But today, you're a revolutionary.
Well, yeah, no, and I have the experience of having seen politics in France. I am very well versed in my politics with this socialism. I can explain it. 15 years later, you're right. I have accumulated some knowledge that allows me not to be scared by the party. I mean, Keith Wright insinuating that he wanted to give me some position within the Democratic Party in Manhattan, which I refused. I said, I want to be the chair of the party or nothing. But a lot of young people, like when Ben Yee started in the process, became the secretary of the Democratic Party, believing that he could make a change from inside. And so all the people before me gave me their tools and their knowledge to be able to create that change over time. And I hope that in February 2022, a lot of New Yorkers will go to rep my block. A lot of people in the Bronx will get to rep my block with the help of Dion and all these activists locally, and take over the Bronx County machine and take over what is theirs and change things. And we'll see.
It's gonna happen, Theo. I'm back.
Oh well, but the thing is, I used to sell cookware in Queens. I grew up, and when I was 16, I used to knock on doors.
Let me ask you a question, Theo. There's a special election to replace Brian Benjamin.
Correct.
Who do you think is going to win?
Whoever the county committee of District 30 picked to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. That's the person who will win.
No one else has a chance. There's a Republican running that we had on last week. Does he have a chance? Alpheus Marcus.
The thing is, the Republican Party is even more screwed up than the Democratic Party. And I have seen it with Dr. Devi. I mean, the Republican Party is pushing the conservative candidate versus the Republican nominee. I mean, this, for me, this is like
all right,
crazy.
Anthony, let's turn to the other special election coming up this November, the 86th Assembly District. Is it a lock for Yudeka Tapia? I say yes. What do you say? Anthony? Okay, we're having a little technical problem.
But yeah, no, whoever the party decides, it will be a lock. Let's be real. The Democratic Party controls.
Anthony? Okay, we are a little low, so if you can turn up your volume. All right, well, we're going to have to continue. We only have a few minutes left. I want to apologize for not having Dion Powell, our co-host. He seems to have been lost in space somewhere, probably at a Star Trek convention. And we were supposed to have Lattina Brown on, and she basically, I wanted to hear what goes on in the Speaker's office. She wrote to the Post, she had an article in the Post where she claims, and I have to say it that way, that she was abused in the office, that she was a whistleblower, and then people in the office just harassed her, okay? I can't believe this from Speaker Johnson. He is supposed to be God, Speaker Johnson, all right? But, hey, he had a mental breakdown, and obviously, maybe Speaker Johnson should resign like he said Andy King should. I mean, they said Andy King was harassing the staff, and wham, they got rid of him. Okay, so maybe it's time for Speaker Johnson to step down with just 3 months left in his term and let someone else take over, because if these allegations are true, and normally allegations are, because look at what happened to Jeff Klein. One allegation that he kissed a girl, and that was it, he's gone. All right, Cuomo we don't have to worry about. But guys, is anybody else there to say anything as we close out?
Robert, I would have loved to have heard it from Lattina as well. And she's a rep my blog. She used Rep My Blog to get on the ballot as the Black Women Lead Party. And she was helping me get on the ballot as well as a Black Women Lead Party candidate for public advocate. So yeah, no, we need to believe all those allegations, because harassment is not only kissing. There is a psychological piece of it, which you don't see. And looking at how the party works, and it seems to have become normal to not realize that you are harassing people by the way you conduct yourself, the way you bark order to people, you order people around, and things like that. So we need to believe all the allegations and investigate them one by one, and let the ship may fall where they may fall.
Anthony, any final words about local politics here in the Bronx? Oh, we can't hear you, Anthony. Take your mask off and yell at us. Well, that's going to have to be it for Anthony. I just want to say one thing. I'm in the East Bronx now in Community Board 11. Last night, there was a Community Board 11 meeting, the full board, and it's a Zoom meeting now. There were 11 vacancies on Community Board 11. And normally you have to attend meetings to go on a community board. You have to have the chair of the board sign, or it be known that you were at these community board meetings. I've been to probably almost all of them the last year or two, okay, since I reside in Community Board 11 for the past 2 years. I applied for Community Board 11. My experience is 6 years on Community Board 8 as Vice Chair of Traffic and Transportation, Vice Chair of Public Safety, and Chair of the Budget Committee for 1 year. Now, I can't understand how Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. did not put me on Community Board 11, but picked people who never even attended one committee meeting, okay? And I don't know, I'm going to be doing a story on the borough president, on his accomplishments in the last 12 years as borough president. I wish we could have Anthony's voice back, because I would ask Anthony, how is the Kingsbridge Ice Center doing? That started in 2013 under Bronx Borough President Diaz, and it still is not open. I met Borough President Diaz in Soundview Park, and I asked him if he knew where the money came from to put Soundview Park in. He said, oh yeah, we got it from Yankee Stadium, okay? I'm not ranting about the borough president, okay? But this man, I mean, he thought the money came from Yankee Stadium, and I had to correct him and say, no, the money didn't come from Yankee Stadium. It came from the water filtration plant that you as an assemblyman voted for to be put into Van Cortlandt Park, all right? Van Cortlandt Park is still, that part of the park has not been accessible to the public. It was supposed to be a golf course on top of it, a driving range, and it isn't. So I'm asking me what Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. has done for the past 12 years. My email is 100% BronxNews@gmail.com. 100, then the words percent BronxNews@gmail.com. I'd like to know what Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. has done the past 12 years. Any idea, Theo?
I don't know, but I heard about the Van Cortlandt Park filtration back in 2003, and it has been an ongoing thing, and I hope that community board, I mean, we need to revitalize everybody to go back and to relearn civics. So I don't have an answer for the Bronx, for Ruben Jr. Diaz, but you're right, you should be on the board, I think, but I mean, we need to elect people who will look for talent everywhere and diversity in profession, diversity in sex, diversity in everything.
Well, Theo, what's happened in the West Bronx, and Anthony will attest to this with all the new buildings and everything, is now happening to the East Bronx. And people who know the process like me are needed on these community boards. But obviously, the previous borough president went to become a vice president for a developer. I'm wondering what this borough president is going to become in 3 months. Which development company he's going to be working for.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, real estate own everything here. And well, that's what it was. Yeah, that's their job to own, but we need to put something to manage them better, because they're running wild right now. And we can see that there is no more sense of community. I mean, they keep destroying every community there is one by one. So,
well, like I said, we're at the end of the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
I hope we can get coffee one day and sit down and go over how to rebuild New York. Electoral district per electoral district.
Well, Ms. Brown was talking about the subways, too. That she was on the 2 train, and she's not the only one who mentioned the 2 train with problems. Now, what happened to the 500 cops that were put on the subways? Aren't they supposed to be there?
Wasn't the money from Cyrus Vance fund actually? So it was supposed to be in Manhattan, wasn't it?
Yep.
So the rest of the borough, I mean.
Who's a candidate? Who's a candidate? Who's a candidate? Who's a candidate?
I know what it is to be a victim of police brutality, to fight for justice, for Amadou Diallo, Abdel Louima, because I was there. Racial inequality is woven into the fabric of America.
2021, make your vote count now, count now, count now, count now. Vote now, vote now, vote now. Every card down, please a ballot now.
We have to end inequality in our school and in housing and ensure we won't have crime and gun violence destroying our city. This is our moment.
Make it count, make it count, make your vote, make it count. We say, oh yeah, who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate? Who's our candidate?
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for